Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you've joined me today. In this journey together, we're going to step quietly into the world of the deer spirit, a guide that embodies grace, compassion, and the kind of calm awareness that so many of us long for in our everyday lives. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, if life feels noisy, harsh, or hurried, then the deer brings a message you may need right now. That gentleness is its own form of strength, and that moving softly through the world can open paths we'd never find by force. By the end of our time together, you'll walk away with not just the history and symbolism of the deer, but also practical ways to bring its wisdom into your daily life. And along the way, I'd love to hear from you. So as we explore, share your reflections in the comments. This channel is a space for conversation, for learning from each other, and for building a community guided by spirit and story. So take a deep breath with me. Imagine yourself in a quiet forest, soft light of morning breaking through the trees, and let's begin. For thousands of years, the deer has walked beside us, not just as a beautiful animal of the forest, but as a sacred presence, a messenger. In ancient Celtic tales, the deer was seen as a guide from the other world. Stories tell of a glowing white stag that would appear suddenly on the edges of the forest. Hunters who followed it often found themselves on journeys of deep transformation. The deer wasn't just leading them through the woods, it was leading them inward, into the mysteries of life and spirit. In Buddhism, the very first sermon of the Buddha was given in a deer park in Sarnath, India. Imagine it, deer grazing quietly as teachings of compassion and awakening were spoken for the first time. That's why to this day, the deer is a symbol of peace, of the gentle sharing of wisdom. Among Native American traditions, the deer holds many teachings. The Navajo, Lakota, and other nations see the deer as a bringer of abundance and renewal. Deer dances were, and still are, ways to honor the delicate balance between taking and giving, between living with the earth and honoring the spirit of what is shared. And in Japan, in the city of Nara, deer are considered sacred messengers of the gods. Even today, they wander freely among temples, reminding visitors that the divine is never far. It moves among us in quiet steps, soft eyes, and humble presence. Across all these traditions, one truth repeats itself. The deer is not just an animal. It is a bridge between the human and the sacred. Let me ask you, have you ever seen a deer unexpectedly? Maybe crossing a road at twilight, or standing at the edge of a meadow, watching you silently. How did it feel in that moment? Did it seem like more than coincidence? If you've had an encounter like that, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. To understand the deer's teaching, just picture how it moves through the forest. Every step is careful, fluid, almost like a dance. It carries itself with quiet confidence, alert, but never aggressive. Spiritually, the deer reminds us that gentleness is not weakness. Grace is not passivity. These qualities are forms of strength that don't rely on force. Think about your own life for a moment. Where could you replace force with softness? Maybe in a difficult conversation, or in how you treat yourself when you make mistakes. Where could more kindness transform the energy in your relationships? The deer asks us to lead with compassion. Even in moments of conflict, it shows us there's another way forward, one that brings peace without losing awareness. In many traditions, the deer is also linked to the heart chakra, the center of love, empathy, and connection. The deer asks us to see the world through fresh eyes, with a heart that stays open even after hardship. Think of a fawn exploring a meadow, innocent, curious, trusting. That's the energy the deer invites us to remember in ourselves. Of course, this doesn't mean being naive. The deer knows danger exists, but it chooses to move forward with openness instead of closing off. It chooses to remain soft, even in a world that can be hard. When was the last time you let yourself look at life with that kind of wonder? Could you give yourself permission to step back into that space of openness, even just for a moment today? A deer doesn't survive because it's the strongest in the forest. It survives because it listens. Its wide ears catch even the faintest sounds. Its dark, gentle eyes notice every subtle movement. The deer thrives through awareness, and that is its lesson for us too. Sometimes we rush through life without noticing the quiet signals, our intuition, the little nudges that whisper what we truly need. The deer spirit teaches us to pause before reacting, to listen carefully to our inner voice, to pay attention to the subtle patterns around us. You might practice this through meditation, or a slow walk in nature where you leave your phone behind, or simply by pausing before responding in a tense moment, giving yourself time to hear your deeper wisdom before speaking. Where in your life right now could you slow down, listen more deeply, and trust what you hear? So how do you know if the deer is calling to you? It might be through dreams. Perhaps a deer appears again and again, especially a white one. In many traditions, that's a sign of spiritual awakening, a gentle new beginning. It might be through synchronicity. Suddenly, you notice deer everywhere, in jewelry, in artwork, even in random places online, at the very moment you're making a big life decision. Or maybe it's through life itself. Perhaps you're in a season where you need to soften your approach, where forgiveness is needed, or where you're being called to trust your intuition more fully. If any of that resonates with you, take a moment to reflect. Where could you invite the deer's energy into your path right now? The deer's teachings aren't just lofty, they can be lived every day. You might try a kindness practice, where you choose one small act of compassion each day. Write a note of gratitude, offer help to a stranger, or simply listen, really listen without judgment. You might bring the deer into your body through gentle movement, yoga, tai chi, or just a mindful walk, where each step is taken with presence and awareness. You could practice heart-centered meditation, breathing slowly as you imagine a soft green light glowing at the center of your chest. Let it expand, filling you with compassion and calm. Or you could connect directly with nature. If you're able, spend time in a woodland or park. Notice the textures of bark, the scent of earth, the delicate sounds of wind and birdsong. Step into the deer's world and let it remind you how to move softly through your own. From Celtic myths to Buddhist teachings, from native traditions to sacred temples in Japan, the deer has always carried the same message: that true strength can be soft, that awareness can be calm, and that compassion can change the world. So the next time you see a deer, or even just an image of one, pause, breathe. Let it remind you to move through your day with gentleness, grace, and an open heart. If this message spoke to you, I'd love it if you gave this video a like and shared it with someone who might need the deer's wisdom right now. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you can walk with me on future journeys through the wisdom of the animal spirits. And if you feel called to support the channel, there's a link in the description where you can make a donation. It's never expected, but always received with deep gratitude. Every bit of support helps keep this space alive and allows me to keep creating for you. Thank you, my friend, for walking with me today. May the spirit of the deer guide you with calm steps, a compassionate heart, and quiet courage. Until next time, move gently and trust the path unfolding before you.